friends, I'm Kyla and welcome back to the Infinite Library. This is the first video of the new year, my first TBR of the new year. I also have new hair, which may or may not last, we'll see. I'm liking it at the moment, but I also probably will get to a point where I cannot be asked to do the upkeep on this, but I do like the purple pink kind of thing going on. It also very nicely matches my jumper, which wasn't intentional, but there we go. So this is my first TBR. I haven't done a TBR video in a while. My last one I think would have been my fall reading plans, and I kind of like the idea of it being a quarterly reading plan rather than going month by month, because sometimes things just kind of pass over into other months and things get pushed back or pushed forward or all that kind of thing. So that's kind of what I'm going to do today. So these are the books that I'm going to try and get to as many as I can do in January, but also knowing I will not get to all of these in January, because as well as all the physical books that I have to show you all, which you probably saw in the thumbnail, I also have about 20 arcs or so that I also need to get to, plus probably new releases coming out as well. But yeah, these are all the books I'm hoping to get to in the next couple of months. I have some priorities as well for the year ahead, and I'm going to talk about those firstly, actually, just as a little roundup to essentially talk about some of my channel goals for this year and some projects I am hoping to be doing. So much like last year, I have some projects that I'm planning to be working on, some vlogs, some are already in progress, some are just things I want to get to this year ideally. I'm just going to talk about a couple of them though, the ones that are my priority essentially. So my first one, which is should be the first one you'll see, because it was actually supposed to come out in December, but I got ill, so it didn't happen, unfortunately. I pushed it back to January, but that is going to be my Snow White reading vlog. This is kind of a sequel of sorts to when I did my Fae retellings 2 years ago, where I dressed up as Briar Rose and I read a whole bunch of fairy tale retelling books and also watched a couple of movies. Last year, however, three Snow White retellings got released. Also the live action movie, but we're not talking about that. I'm not watching it. So I'm actually making an entire Snow White video reading only Snow White retellings, granted some are technically Evil Queen retellings, watching a couple of movies, and I'll also be dressing up as Snow White. Costume is almost done at the moment. If I can give you a little sneak peek of it, there it is. Should definitely be ready in another week or so. I just need to hem it and stuff. But yeah, so that is going to be my first project really that I do for the start of this year, and I'm really looking forward to it. I really do love doing retellings, and I've got some really good ones for this one, and it's a series I want to keep on doing because I just keep finding more and more retellings basically. Also, not just necessarily fairy tale retellings. I've got my eye on a couple later this year that are retellings of other stories. That is something that I'm hoping to also do. Other videos that's going to be coming up soon, I will be doing reading booktubers favorites of 2025 again. I really enjoyed that last year, and I actually got some new favorites for myself as well, including some books that are in my top 10. So definitely want to do that again. I'm just waiting for the videos to slip in at the moment so that I can figure out who I'm going to read for which booktuber. As before, I'm probably going to do about 10 people. Feel free to recommend some people if there's anyone you want me to check out in particular. I think I've pretty much decided who I'm going to do booktube from, but I like to include some smaller booktubers, some new people maybe that I can look into for next year perhaps. I'm also, in a similar vein, going to be doing my besties' favourite books of 2025. These are my in real life besties, my really good friends, and I've asked them all to basically give me their top 5 books that they read in 2025, and I am going to read one of them, and hopefully it will also be a winner for me too. I'm hoping so, because I feel like we share similar tastes. A couple of those are coming through at the moment. I'm really looking forward to doing it. I'm already very excited for the 2 books that I know I'm going to be reading for it. They are books that I've wanted to read for a while, and yeah, I just think it'll be really fun and nice to also do promote people that are just reading generally and not doing full content reading, which booktube is kind of, to be honest, sometimes. So other big projects I really want to get to this year. I don't necessarily have specific dates in mind for these, but I want to do some reading whole series videos. I really want to get to the Wayward Children series and read the whole thing through, particularly book 11 just coming back, which nicely cycles back to book 1 again, with it being the same protagonist. Some of you may know, if you do know me a little bit more outside of this channel, but I have been slowly but surely collecting every single Buffy novel. Buffy the Vampire Slayer, the TV series, also had a whole bunch of novels, like 90 or so, and I read a load of them back in the day, and I've been collecting them all because I want to do an entire series read through of them all, along, like, chronologically as well, alongside the Buffy TV show. I may be dressing up as well for it because I just can't resist a little bit of dressing up if I can. I already have done Buffy and Spike for various events and stuff in the past, so I may as well lead into it, I figure. But yeah, really excited for that. I just need to get my ass into gear and get like the last 8 books or so I'm missing, essentially, and find time to do it. It may come this year, it may come next year, I don't know yet, we'll see, but it is coming. And probably the last other thing that I know for sure I want to do this year is for Halloween, want to do a Frankenstein vlog, because I adore Frankenstein. It is my favourite gothic novel of all time. I loved the new Guillermo del Toro movie that came out just last month. I thought it was great. I've actually got a costume that I'm making from that movie. One of Elizabeth's dresses just really calls to me, so I'm now in the process of attempting to make that. But yeah, I love Frankenstein, and I'm going to do a reread of Frankenstein, watch a couple of the movies, adaptations and stuff, and do a whole bunch of retellings, because I have been slowly but surely collecting retellings with the intention of doing this video. So that will be coming for Halloween. Otherwise, channel goals, I just want to keep expanding, really. I'm hoping to start doing sprints on here at some point soon, so that maybe I can talk to people a bit more on YouTube. I think that'd be really nice, and I do sprints anyway. I've been joining a lot of sprints recently, and everyone's been really lovely in them and have been encouraging me to do live sprints as well, so that may be something that I do start doing soon, around my schedule. Booktube is not my job. I have a full-time job as well and a chronic pain condition, so it is kind of a when I can sort of thing, but we're gonna try. And yeah, otherwise I'm gonna be continuing Treasure or Trash, reading through my TBR, but probably, to be honest, we won't be getting an episode of that until maybe March, just because I've got all the booktuber favorites, and also I'm going to be doing some more Goodreads stuff. I'm going to be trying to read all the winners from the Goodreads Choice Awards 2025, and a couple of other books that I wanted to read anyway that were already on my TBR in those awards that maybe didn't make it to winner. And as to if I think what one didn't win, shouldn't have won, because yeah, obviously I've already done all of the horror category. My video for that you can see here, so I will not be doing horror for that one because I've already read them all, and I wasn't mad about what won, but it wasn't my pick. It could have been worse, but there were other books I would have preferred to have won, to be honest, over what did win. But yeah, I'm going to be doing some more Goodreads stuff just because I think it's really fun, basically. I've got a whole bunch of series that I want to be getting back to in 2025, carrying on series, and knocking down my TBR is still very much a priority for me, but maybe not for the first 2 months or so, just because I'm doing these other videos, but then I'm back to it. And I'm honestly really looking forward to getting back to my TBR and getting to some books that I've been wanting to get to for a while now. So without further ado, let me go over the books I am aiming to get to in the next couple of months. I've not listed them all, just the ones that are kind of my priorities. Really, there may be other books that come along as well, but these are the ones I'm sort of focused on. Also, as another channel goal, I'm hoping to start doing wrap-ups again. Maybe not monthly wrap-ups, but I'm thinking quarterly wrap-ups could be a good idea, because honestly, I kind of miss being able to look back at the video and finding out what my thoughts were. And when you've read as many books as I have read, in 2025, which is over 200. It's not that I don't remember them, but I like being able to hear more of my thoughts when it was more recent in my memory. So yeah, hopefully I will be getting back to doing wrap-ups again. I may experiment with some different formats to make it a little bit more fun, a little bit shorter. Like I might just be doing a tops and bottoms kind of thing, similar to what Win does at Literary Diversions, rather than talking about every single book I've read, especially if it's quarterly, because that could be a lot of books. And only other goals really for this channel is just to keep reading diversely, to be honest. As you know, I try and read as much queer, BIPOC, neurodiverse, all that kind of stuff as I can. Really, I also want to try and read more sci-fi because I'm still trying to get into that, to be honest. I still haven't quite found my place yet, I don't think, with sci-fi, but I want to continue my journey with that. And yeah, also reading outside of my genres is something I still want to keep trying to do every so often, just so I'm not like fully bracketed down into the fantasy horror little bubble, as much as I love it there. Okay, so the first stack of books are ones that I do actually think I will get to in January. They are kind of crossovers from December that I probably meant to get to in December and didn't get to, and one of them actually will work very well for Winterween, which is Gabby Reed's horror January readathon, and that is Christmas and Other Horrors. I actually started reading this last Christmas, as in not Christmas 2025, Christmas is 2024. So you can see I got this far through it and I didn't finish it. I've also read more of the authors though since then, which is very interesting. This is a horror anthology set based around Christmas essentially, and Yule and all that kind of stuff. Quite enjoyed it. I didn't finish it though. I took it back to the library because it hit February and I wasn't feeling it anymore, but picking up again, and hopefully I will finish this off in January. I may have read a couple in December as well, but I doubt I'll have finished it, so this will be a January book for me. Also very timely, one of the other prompts for Summerween is to read a book with vampires in it, or werewolves, witches, whatever, but that kind of vibe. I did start Empower the Vampire this year and I just did not have time to carry on. I'm really enjoying it. I really love this so far. I've just been so busy with all the other things I've had to read that I haven't been able to devote time to this behemoth of a book, to be honest. So yeah, hopefully I'll put it on Winterween TBR and we'll actually be able to finish this, if not in January, early in the year I'm hoping, and then carry on to the rest of the series, because I do own all 3 books. I did go to a Drake Christoph event and got them signed. I just hadn't gotten around to finishing this off, even though I am really loving it. I'm currently at book 3, Blood and Silver, so yeah, I'm like 200 pages in or something, but it is like a 700 page book, so finally we'll be prioritizing this in 2026. The last prompt really that I would need to fulfill for Winterween, everything I can kind of fulfill with these 2 books, is to read a 2025 release you never got around to. And that kind of nicely goes into my book club book for the month, because that is going to be The Devils by Joe Abercrombie. I'm very excited to read this one. It's a dark fantasy. I've never read Joe Abercrombie before. I've heard very mixed thoughts of this book, but everything that people have been saying about it, which is why they don't like it, is stuff that I feel like could be pluses for me, like it being too gory, too body horror, more horror essentially. So I am actually quite looking forward to this. I gave my book club like 6 options and this one, so hopefully we all enjoy it. This was also in the Goodreads Fantasy Awards, I believe. It didn't win, but it did get decently far, I want to say, so this will be making an appearance in my reading from the Goodreads Awards video as well. It is also a chonker though. It's like 500 pages and it's about a priest who ends up having a congregation of monsters essentially, and shenanigans happen, I assume. But yeah, actually really looking forward to getting to this one because it's one I really liked the sound of in 2025. Other books I want to get to, I read volume 1 finally of Heaven Official's Blessing in December, so I am going to be carrying on this series with volume 2. These are the only 2 volumes. This and the final volume are the only one that I own, and after that I'll be having to buy them / borrow them off my flatmate. My flatmate read this whole series last year, really loved it, and I have seen the first season of the anime Really loved it, really want to cosplay from it as well, but I'm finally reading it and I'm having a good time so far with it. Volume 2, this is Danmei, which is Chinese historical like fantasy romance essentially between two males most of the time, is Danmei, and I'm really liking this so far, so I will be carrying on that. In terms of other continuing things, I don't think I ever really mentioned, but I am actually doing the hardest reading challenge you'll ever do, and I'm really enjoying it because I read so much. I think I find it a bit easier than other people, but I do have 2 books specifically that I didn't get to last year for it, which I had intended to but didn't have time for, but I do need them for that challenge because these are 2 books that are the lowest rated on my TBR. Essentially, one of the prompts that I got was one that I think was a previous year prompt, and I chose to read the 5 lowest rated books on my TBR. I have read 3 of them, I think, at this point, but I have 2 left, and that is The Red Scholar's Wake by Aliette de Bodard and The Kingdom of Sweets by Erica Johansson, which is a Nutcracker retelling, so I did kind of want to get to this over Christmas. If I didn't get to it over Christmas though, January is good enough. And this is a sci-fi LGBT. It's quite short though, really. Neither of those are super long, but yeah, they've got not good ratings in Goodreads. So we'll see if I like them or not. It's probably a good idea to prioritize these because if I don't like them, they can go. So yeah, we'll be reading those 2. I have read the other 3 already, I think, and of those 3, I think I liked one of them. I think of the other 3, we had Don't Listen to Your Sister, which I actually quite liked. It wasn't like the best horror I ever read, but I did like it. I didn't think it deserved as low of a rating as it got. I read I Want to Die, but I also want to eat tteokbokki, which I didn't like, unfortunately. That was a total miss for me. And then the other book I read was the Baby Dragon Cafe, which I've only heard bad things about, to be honest. I think I did this by audiobook because I had an ARC, and I got like 2 hours in and realised I wasn't enjoying it, so I DNF'd that one. So yeah, these are the last 2 to fulfill that prompt for the hardest reading challenge you'll ever do. I'll put a link, by the way, to the announcement video for that in case it's something you're intrigued about, because I just think it's really fun and I'm doing it kind of casually, to be honest, even though it's not really something you're supposed to do casually. Right, before I show you the rest of the physical books, I thought I'd just tell you about some ARCs that I'm gonna be reading as well. Just gonna tell you about the January ones. I have more, to be honest, but I've been a little ARC hunter lately and I have got a couple, but they're all ones that are new releases in 2026 I'm really excited for. So I'm really happy and I'm really lucky that I've been given ARCs for these to give them a read before they're out fully. I will do my best to do proper reviews and post them as well, but most of them will be on my Goodreads and Storygraph. The link for those are down below, but where possible I will try and talk about some of these in videos as well. So to summarize, the ones that I currently have, in fact I've got one physically, which is Wolfworm by T. Kingfisher. I actually got the digital ARC for this and then I was at YALC and I won this. I was so excited about. This isn't coming out until March, 26th of March. I believe this is T. Kingfisher's latest horror and I'm very excited to read this. I will definitely be reading this before March, I imagine, just because I love T. Kingfisher. So this one was one I was very excited for. In terms of other ARCs I've got, I'm just going to list them, and they're all in my most anticipated books of 2026 videos that I did release earlier in December, so I'm not going to go into great detail about them, but they are The Dark Lord's Guide to Dating by Tiffany Hunt, which is a romantasy. The Swan's Daughter by Roshani Chokshi, also a fantasy. YA, I believe though, and definitely getting a lot of special editions from what I gather, so it's very highly anticipated. The Book of Blood and Roses by Annie Summer Lee, which is an adult sapphic fantasy. More in the horror thing I suspect because it's vampires. Beth is Dead by Katie Benet, which is a YA mystery about Beth, as in Beth from Little Women, and she's dead and they're trying to solve a murder or something. Sounds very fun. 2 other books that are related, but I'm not going to tell you what they are exactly because it is related to a blog I'm doing soon and I kind of want to keep that secret, but I have 2 ARCs for it and 2 physical books, so you will see the 2 physical books coming up in the physical, and maybe you can figure out what the theme of the video is. We'll see. I also have Winterborn by Elizabeth Wolfe, which is another fantasy. Secrets We Cradle in the Dark, which is a sci-fi by Ivy Lovell. The View from Down Here by Lucy Webster, which is a memoir about someone who has a disability. White Shade and Oak by Molly O'Neill, which is a sapphic Iron Age era fantasy. Queen of Faces by Petra Lord, which is a fantasy with body swapping and stuff, also LGBT, one I'm very excited for. And on Sunday She Picked Flowers by Yaya Schofield, which is a black horror. All ones I'm very excited to read. I have other arcs as well, but I'm not really going to mention them because they are going to be like February onwards, and I just don't want to say everything about what I'm reading basically because that's just boring. So on to my other physical books I have that I'm going to be looking at reading. So I will be going to a few book events again this year, as I do, a couple of author events. Also, Manchester itself is having a book event called Litfest, which I'm very excited about. There's a lot of really good authors that are being announced for that. So one of the books actually is from there, and that is Pole Position by Rebecca J. Caffrey, which is a Formula One romance. I've heard about this quite recently actually, but I'm just intrigued about it. Obviously right now heated rivalry is everywhere because of the TV show, which is the, oh my god, why have I forgotten what sport it is? Like hockey or something? It's probably hockey. But yeah, basically that is everywhere at the moment. I will be watching the TV show soon. I've got the book pre-ordered, but it's sadly out of stock everywhere at the moment, and I don't have Kindle Unlimited, which is where people have been reading it. But yeah, very into the whole sports romance kind of thing. Like, there are so many hetero sports romances out there. Let the gays have their fun too. So I will be reading this one. I will also be reading Heated Rivalry as soon as it arrives, hoping I love it as much as everyone else seems to. I'm actually a big fan of sports anime, funnily enough, so I'm hoping this will be something that will work for me. And then the other book that I'm going to be reading for, well, two books technically, because I'm waiting for one at the library, and that one is The Notorious Virtues by Alwyn Hamilton. But I've also going to be getting to this chonker, which is also in the Goodreads Fantasy Awards, which is The Raven Scarlet by Antonia Hodgson. I have the beautiful Illumicrate edition, which I adore. It's like one of my favorite books I got last year. I've heard really good things about this, so I'm hoping I enjoy it. And yeah, so another one I'm going to be getting to. I need to get to this in January because the event I'm going to is at the end of January, or at least I need to get like a chunk of the way through so I know if I like it enough. I'm going to for the event for other reasons as well. That is also why I'm reading Queen of Faces in January, because the author Petra Lord is going to be at that event and I'm so interested in that book. But yeah, definitely will be getting to this chonker in January. Some series I'm going to be prioritizing because I really want to get back into series again. I did do my reread of Gideon the Ninth last year, so this does mean I can get back into reading the series with Harrow the Ninth, and I do have Nona over there as well. Who knows when we'll get a lector. Yeah, I've been dying to get to this. I wanted to get to it last year, I just couldn't fit it in anywhere. But yeah, excited to carry on this series because me rereading Gideon the Ninth actually did confirm it was a 5-star for me. So really excited to see how absolutely batshit crazy this book is, because I've heard it's batshit crazy. I also, you may groan, I'm going back to Dragon School. So I want to see what the fuss is about and why people hate Iron Flame. However, I've only read Fourth Wing, which I really liked when I read it. And then Iron Flame came out. Sorry, Onyx Storm. I want to see what all the fuss is about with Onyx Storm. I haven't read Iron Flame yet. I didn't hear great things about it, however. And I've not also heard great things about Onyx Storm, but it still did really well in the romantasy category. And won, I think. So if I'm reading all the winners for my video, I have to go back and read these. I'm actually totally fine to reread Fourth Wing because I really need to reread Fourth Wing to go into the next book. And I know I'll enjoy this one at least. But I'm just worried that I'm gonna hate this. So we'll see. I've not heard many people that have enjoyed the sequels to Fourth Wing. And if that is the case, that's fine. I will just keep Fourth Wing because I love that and I'll pretend it's a standalone. But yeah, I will be finally getting back to this series. 2 books that I'm going to be reading for the vlog project that I'm currently keeping a secret. Let's see if you can figure out the link between them. I'll be doing a reread actually of Christina Rossetti's Goblin Market, and going back to this really old urban fantasy series which is about as smutty as it looks, by Laurel K. Hamilton, which you may have heard of this author before for writing the Anita Blake Vampire series, which is a book series I really like. This is actually her side series, which is about a woman called Mary Gentry, and it's all about fae, essentially. It's Why Choose, it may be Polly, I actually don't remember. Essentially, it's about a woman called Meredith Gentry who fled the court of fairy and is a private investigator, but then she gets drawn back into it. It's going to be very smutty, but I'm kind of looking forward to getting back to this series. I never read the first book, which this is the first book, A Kiss of Shadows. I read like books 2 and 5 or something back in the day, and obviously it didn't make a whole ton of sense, especially because it's a big cast of characters, but I will still try reading this author. So yeah, this will be something I also read for the video, along with the Goblin Market. And then one of the other books that I know I'm definitely going to be getting to early in the year is Butter by Asako Yazuki, and that is because this is one of my besties' favourites for the year, and she gave me a couple and I've already picked this one. I've also picked one of the others too, but I don't have that yet in my hands. But Butter I did grab when I was out and it was on sale, so very excited to be getting to this one. All I know about it is that it is a cooking thriller, and it was really, really popular in Japan before it came out over here. And you know I'm not always crazy on thrillers. I like them, but they're kind of palate cleansers, popcorn reads for me. I read them, I forget about them. But the fact this is about cooking really intrigues me because I really enjoy cooking shows and that kind of thing. So I'm hoping I will actually really like this one. I've heard nothing but good things about it, so yeah, hoping I'll enjoy it. I did mention I was going to do my Snow White video, by the way, and at the moment this is the current TBR for it, along with like another book which is an arc and not out at the moment, but that is just a novella, so it is quite a chunky list. I don't necessarily care about getting through all of these. The main culprit, as you can see, is this one with the sprayed edges. The rest are all actually fairly short. Like one of these is literally a short story, one is a graphic novel as well, but that is the main culprit. But I am already 100 pages into that one and enjoying it a lot. So yeah, that is the Snow White books, and you will see what they all are when we get to the video. So as I said, I'm also going to be reading books from the Goodreads Awards as well as reading the winners as well, and I've got a couple of these, well, I've got quite a few of these already in my hands. A lot of these are in the library, to be honest, because I'm not sure if I'm going to like them or not, but some I'm genuinely super interested in, so I have actually managed to get copies of those. So of those books, we've got Raising Hair by Chloe Dalton. This was in the memoir category. We have a non-fiction, One Day Everyone Will Have Always Been Against This by Omar El Akkad. In the, was this in the thriller or the fiction category? I honestly can't remember. Wild Dark Shore by Charlotte McConaughey. I think this was in fiction, actually. From the mystery category, however, we do have Heartwood by Amity Gage. I really think the UK cover is ugly, by the way, for this one. The American cover is so much nicer. Also in the fiction category, Emperor Gladness by Ocean Vuong. This was my pick, to be honest, for fiction. I obviously haven't read it yet, but I have read Ocean Vuong before, and I really, really enjoyed that book. So I'm sad it didn't win, but I understand the winner is very popular as well. YA Fantasy, The Rose Bargain by Sasha Payton Smith. From Sci-Fi, I've got Death of the Author by Needy Okorafor, and Of Monsters and Mainframes by Barbara Truller, which I'm super excited to read, and honestly kind of hoping my book club picks it for February because they also are interested in reading this one. From the romance category, never thought I'd say this, but I actually got a couple of them, and they're ones I'm interested in reading, which is so unlike me. I mean, two are Ali Hazelwood's, which we know historically I've actually had a good time with, so we do have problematic summer romance. We've also got Deep End, which I've had actually for a couple of months and just never got around to, and I've got the runner-up by Abby Jimenez, which is Say You'll Remember Me. And I wasn't interested in this one at first, even though I've got to say the cover is giving trans flag. But this is actually set, I think, in Greece, or it's to do with a Greek guy or something, which does intrigue me because I am actually half Greek. So that made me slightly more interested. And I have been wanting to try Abby Jimenez, I just haven't. So I figure this is a good chance as any to start, I suppose. Then from the fantasy category, we've got Alchemy of Secrets by Stephanie Garber. I finally read Caraval this year and really loved it, so hoping I will really like this too. Not as long as I thought it was going to be, I've got to say. Of course, I did pre-order The Strength of the Few. One of the many was in my favourite books of the year. And yeah, it is a chonker. I wanted to get to this in December, but who was I kidding? But I will be getting to this and reading it for that video. Then in the romantasy category, I also have the third and final Emily Wilde book, which I didn't get around to last year, and Bonds of Hercules, which is a sequel to Blood of Hercules, which I sometimes feel like I am the only person who enjoyed that book, but I'm excited for the sequel. There's a couple of other books that I'll probably be picking up that I have got like audio books for. So like, what was it? The Noodle book in the sci-fi category, that is one of the ones that I have an audiobook. And I'll probably pick up a couple of others through the library, but these are the ones I currently have in my hand. And then obviously I'm reading all the Goodreads winners, which is not all of them technically because I've already read the horror category, which was the Grady Hendrix book, and I've already read the fantasy winner, which was Bury Our Bones of the Midnight Soil. So for fiction, I will be reading Frederick Bachman's My Friends. I don't have copies yet of the next three, which is a historical fiction, Atmosphere by Taylor Jenkins Reid, mystery and thriller, Not Quite Dead Yet by Holly Jackson, and the romance Great Big Beautiful Lie by Emily Henry, but I will be reading them. They're coming to me through the library as we speak. As I said, for romantasy, I'm rereading Fourth Wing and Iron Flame, so I can read Onyx Storm. Fantasy I've read, science fiction is The Compound, which I actually have an audio arc for and never got to, so I will get to it now, I guess. I'm refusing to do debut novel because I refuse to read Alchemize, so I think I'm doing the runner-up for debut novel. Let me check what that is. The Names. Okay, so I will be reading The Names by Florence Knapp for that category. Audiobook, I'm not doing it, although if I do end up listening to any of them by audio, I will let you know if they're good or not. I also forgot to say, Catabass is also going to be read. I also haven't got to this because all of the big books I didn't get to, essentially, which you'll also see in a minute. Also, Catabass, sorry, is going to be read as well. And then into the final categories. I haven't read Sunrise on the Reaping yet, but I will. Of course, I am prepared for this book to emotionally destroy me. I did actually read Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes last year in anticipation of this, and I actually quite liked it. So yeah, we'll be reading this. The YA fiction book, Fake Skating, I will be reading that one. Non-fiction, Everything is Tuberculosis, have that coming to me in the library at the moment. Memoir, The House of My Mother by Shari Frank, have that as waiting for an audio copy at the moment through the library. And history and biography, How to Kill a Witch, waiting for it to come to me in the library. I also really did think this had won for a second then, and had left it to be going with the winners, but it didn't in fact win. So I am in fact reading this for history and biography as an extra one of the reading from the awards, not reading the winners. This is Jane Austen's Bookshelf by Rebecca Romney, which was the only one I was interested in the entire category. So that is it. Those are all the books I am prioritizing in the first quarter of 2026. You got a bit of a sneak peek at some of the videos I'm going to be doing, and yeah, let me know if there are any of those books that you're interested in. Let me know if there are any other books in the Goodreads categories that maybe you think I should try and check out for the video. And as always, until next time, stay safe, stay cozy, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!